Graham, I've been aware that we've been speaking for quite a while, but I can't let you go, obviously, without addressing the elephant in the room. You knew this was going to come.
Okay.
So tell me, what do you think about the B word? Brexit. How is it going as a Brit? You tell us.
Well, as I say, I could be a marked man here, so I'll have to be very careful how I choose my words.
You've got to understand, I'm really sorry for this, but you are the Brit who travels to Europe to speak on the trade contact group about European matters, as you've just demonstrated. But you are seriously a Brit, like a proper Brit. So you've got to have, with this European identity that you have just explained so vividly, your view on Brexit must be especially interesting.
Yes, that's right. No, there's everyone that knows me, anyone that's seen the stuff that I put out publicly knows that I campaign for Remain. That there's, sort of like no argument about that from my point of view. Everyone knows that, and I like to think that I put the arguments forward as professionally and as insightfully as I could. Unfortunately, not everyone agreed with my opinion, and we are where we are.
Yes.
But having said that, I mean, it's not been a very settled process from the British side. We've had two governments handling it, so obviously you're going to have sort of like stop starts because of that, and at the end of the day, it entered into force last January, but not entirely from the British side, as you know, with declarations being held back. And so we're now, since the start of January, we've moved from Brexit light to almost like full Brexit, if I can put it like that.
Yes.
I think probably roughly like last year, the first week or two, it all seems a bit quiet. Not saying that things aren't happening, but it wasn't until the end of January when things really started to heat up last year, and I moved from I've got this completely wrong to working really flat out for a while. And I suspect that might be the same now. Now, in relation to Brexit, whether it's working or not, it's too early to say. I mean, if you just look at it as a snapshot of where we are at the moment, you'd have to say, well, no, it's not. All that we've said, all the Remainer people who have got an understanding of these things has said are coming true. That there are supply chains are just coming to an end because there's difficulties. Small businesses are facing problems with this. That the fact that small businesses have moved from a status of just buying and selling to having a customs status as importer exporter has sort of like caused a lot of problems. It's added to administration, which adds to cost. We've had ancillary problems. I mean, we talk about Brexit. On top of that, we've had the pandemic. I mean, sort of like we've had all of these things all within a very telescope period of 12 to 18 months, with all the politics on all of these things all mashed into it as well. So yeah, I mean, taking it as a snapshot, you quite easily say that, well, it's not working. You can see it's not working. We're not better off. We're not seeing our shelves stocked entirely as they were. I'm not going to say that there aren't. As I said, there's the pandemic, and there's other ancillary issues that impacted on that as well, with HGV drivers and people that were involved in certain processing that have left as a result of Brexit. But I think really you can't say whether it's worked or not for at least 3 to 5 years. And if we're still in the same situation as we are at the moment and we're not moving forward, then I think you could then turn around and say, look, Brexit is not working. I suspect that there will be people that will look at the situation, look at different opportunities, look at doing things in a different way, trying to make the best of new systems as they come online. The UK has announced that it's got a big IT project in the works for customs. I'm not sure. I mean, it's easy for the politicians to say it's going to do X, Y, and Z, and it's going to be there within X number of months. Right. When you've seen what's happened, we've been involved in negotiations of electronic customs over in Europe, so we know it's not as simple as that. The advantages that the UK have is that they were involved in a lot of those discussions, a lot of those development works in Europe. So they've got experience of building it. They know some of the potholes that exist. So they should be able to at least write a project which will capture and do what we want it to do. Another advantage is that technology has moved on significantly as well, and we're now talking in terms of artificial intelligence, and that being trained to do so much more. So applying that in any new IT system at the UK side will have sort of like a lot of benefits. It's just making sure that they handle it in a step-by-step way, and they can achieve those steps and make sure that they're durable, so that each step will lead to the next one. And it's going to take time. So we're going to.
I mean, Brexit this or Brexit that, in the end, is happened, and we need to get on with it, right? And I like the fact that you say, well, if you look at it. So the one thing to understand because I can see the anger in some of our, or the disappointment in some of our viewers now that were hoping that you were going to say something else on Brexit. We got to understand, of course, that your background of being in Brussels for a long time, and that naturally makes you also understand the Brussels side or the EU side equal to me. And secondly, we see this from a purely customs point of view. Well, not only customs, but mainly from a customs point of view. And from there, it is really difficult to argue from a movement of goods point of view that having no border is not as good as having a border. I am not talking about anything else. I'm just saying from a movement of goods point of view, having to make a customs declaration, having to worry about commodity codes, customs status, and the likes of it, is surely more challenging than not having to do any of it and just moving, right? So from this perspective, from a customs point of view, it is significant that the EU needs to treat the UK as a third country, and we in the UK need to treat the EU as a third country, similar to China and in America and whatnot. And from that point of view, totally understand. So border controls then, 2022, full border controls. You mentioned Brexit full. How's that going?
Well, as I say, it's still early days at the moment. But I mean, it's going to cause problems whether we like it or not. And I know I've heard people over in the EU, because up till now they've not had to face this, and so now they're exporting and they've got the full export experience to send it to export to the UK. And they're saying, well, it's just now so complicated. We are not going to export our widget or whatever it is that they've been supplying because it literally is just not worth it. So whether we like it or not, at the moment, that is something that we are facing and we will face. I think what we need to do is to try and find ways to make these things easier. And I think that we need to maintain our vigilance at the TCG as well, because at the end of the day, what we are, sort of like at the moment, Brexit's happened. It's a high politics, whether we like it or not. That's the nature of the beast. I mean, there was one comment derogatory towards business when business was saying in the referendum, our Prime Minister made a very sort of offhand comment, and because the politics of it are so high, and that's the same in Europe as well. The impact on the EU, that obviously there's a big political issue there that they're handling, and so we're in the early days of all of this. One, in terms of the technicalities of import exporting, but also the politics of it, where it's a case of, well, the UK is now a third country, not our fault. Step back, and from the UK perspective, well, the people spoke and they said they wanted to move away from the EU, and we're kind of in that game. But we've got a new commission that is closer to us every month now, so that will have an impact on the dynamics of this. And then in just a couple of years' time, there's going to be a UK election as well. So that could well impact on the dynamics. So going back to what I was saying in terms of, well, yeah, if you look at it as a snapshot of now, it's not good, but in 3 to 5 years, it might not just. Where we are. Yeah, it could be a completely different political background that we're working against, and so that I think is why we need to do what we're doing and just maintain the basics of how this impacts on business, and that both sides have an obligation, have a duty of care to make sure their businesses can maintain in business. Sort of like, forget the politics of it, but let's find solutions that work from both sides, but allow these things to happen.
I agree with you. Wow. Now we've gone full circle, haven't we? We started in the UK with your life, and now we've gone to Brussels, we've gone back to the UK, and we've spoken for so long. I mean, we could talk about this forever and ever and ever, and we we should definitely consider catching up again in the future to make it, make another video and see how things are going, just to check in and see how the Brexit and the relations are going. But fair to say, to say that the role of trade representatives of businesses is crucial in this whole mix of EU-UK relations, whereby we are trying to trade, we are trying to bring, you mentioned retail, we're trying to keep the shelves stocked in the UK and the EU. We're trying to make sure that when the consumer enters a retail establishment, there is choice, there is a good price, there is what the customer needs. And in order for this to happen, we need a business environment that enables that. And politics can be politics, and let them discuss what they need to discuss. At the end of the day, if we make it so difficult for business to move across borders, we shouldn't be surprised that the impact ends up with the electorate, right? So we've got to bear in mind that our role here in this whole thing is to make sure that we deliver to our members, and deliver the contract that they have signed up with society, with their customers. And everybody needs to play their part. We will play our part, and the politicians need to play their part.
And as I said, we we need to maintain that trust, and I'm glad to say the TCG, likes of you, me, and all the other leading players there. It's not an ego game either. It's people that genuinely do want to see everyone succeed. All the stakeholders succeed, and it's like that. Everyone wins at the end of the day.
And this is why I love speaking to you, because it is so insightful. It is so interesting. And I was just glued at every word you had said. It's really, really, it's really good to hear your view and perspective, because it is, as I said, so unique. So thank you also for being honest and open and frank about this, and sharing your view. It's appreciated, and it's really, really interesting. So thank you, Graham, for being with us again. And we'll look forward to the comments, right? And all the questions that we can see. So again, thanks a lot, and I'll look forward to catching up with you in the near future.
Look forward to it, on maybe face to face next time, rather than
that would be great. That would be great.
Okay, all the best. Thanks, Arne. Bye bye.